¡Justicia! ¡Ahora! ¡Ahora!
Why such a strong interest in Gabino's case?
Well,
What is so special?
we met, and once we met, I can't walk away from Gabino.
La discreción, porque en el pasado simplemente demuestra que están utilizando, y lo que nosotros queremos hoy es que cierren tu caso administrativamente. And so what we're attempting to do today is establish a month ahead of the implementation of the law that the immigrant community does have a way in which to defend itself. Let me just reiterate, the federal government is the only governmental entity that can deport you. The state of South Carolina can't do it, the state of Alabama can't do it, and so we're going to go around the country. Now, the memorandum, the Morton Memorandum of last June, which was to be implemented department-wide in Homeland Security, clearly establishes prosecutorial discretion. Look, they deported 400,000 people in the last year, an unprecedented number of people. They can't deport anymore. There are criminals walking around the streets. What do you want them to do? Go after the Gabinos for driving without a license that has 2 American citizen children and has never been involved with the law? Or do you want them to go after the really serious people that are causing and are a threat to our society? I think we should use that kind of prosecutorial discretion so that it's fair and it's humane.
Since we began organizing Familia Latina Unida in 2001, one or another family has always come forward to dramatize the current battleground in the struggle of the undocumented and their families. In most of these cases, the families had the choice just to disappear back into the shadows, but they did not. They chose rather to stand and fight, not only for themselves, but for all the other families like them.
He has been released once again. As you see him here with me, he is undocumented in the United States, but he has a protection of an order so that he can travel until March the 13th when he has a hearing. Before that day, we thanked her also for utilizing discretion in releasing and not immediately attempting to deport or putting a high bond on Mr. Gabino Sanchez.
We believe that the family of Gabino Sanchez will be the family that goes down in the history of 2012.
Hay que demostrarle a Obama que no nomás deportar a la gente ahora sí que porque uno está ilegal aquí, sino que también se fije el tiempo que uno tiene aquí, las raíces que lleva uno aquí.
Last year, we began a movement that swept across the country to ask Obama to use his executive power to stop the deportations. Gutierrez, our Moses, went to this rich young ruler again and again, while the movement spread from city to city. Each time, God hardened Pharaoh's heart and he refused. Finally, Familia Latina Unida brought the children to the White House, where Gutierrez himself was arrested like a criminal. 3 days later, Obama agreed to the policy of prosecutorial discretion. Those who had come here before they were 18 and those with U.S. citizen spouses or children would have their cases closed and they would be able to apply for work permits. Then came the Republican presidential primary contest. The Republican Party had been taken over by the right-wing anti-immigrant movement. The Republican primary was a contest for who would lead the white voters against Obama. It was a white people's primary. That became clear in their hateful statements. They all declared their intention to drive the undocumented and their children from this nation. So Obama saw his support rising in the Latino community. Homeland Security began to quietly pull back on the use of prosecutorial discretion. We still won some cases, but they began to deny some people using small technicalities and excuses. And they began to say they would not give work permits to those whose cases they had closed.
Our dispute at the moment is not with the immigration court. Our dispute is the fact that this case is in the immigration court in the first place. Now, we know that local law enforcement may or may not engage in racial profiling. They may pull people over, like in Gabino's case, for driving while Latino. Okay, that's the only reason why he was stopped. Because how can someone be pulled over 6 separate times for driving without a license when he wasn't given a speeding ticket, not a failure to yield, nothing else, just driving without a license? But the fact that Immigration and Customs Enforcement continues to pursue deportation proceedings against people who are arrested in this manner is what the problem is. And this goes very clearly against the Obama administration's announced policies. Now, if ICE is going to do this, if ICE is going to continue to pursue deportation proceedings against people who are arrested for driving without a license, they're not just ignoring racial profiling, but they're actively aiding and abetting racial profiling.
So I promised Gabino that I would stand with him when we were in South Carolina. And when he had his court hearing, he would not be alone. And you're not. And I know this is a very difficult time for you, and a very fearful time for you. We'd all be afraid. But you're showing a great degree of courage in standing up for your children and for your right to raise those American citizen children here in the United States. And for that, we will always be grateful to you. It would be easier probably for Gabino to simply wither away back into the shadows of the society in which he has lived up until this moment. Now he's out in the front, clearly. And we have to stop the separation of families like Gabino's family. I mean, I want you to think about it. He was 17 years old. He's 27. He was 17 years old the first time he was stopped for driving without a license. 6 times driving without a license and nothing else. He wasn't speeding. He didn't stop, yield, nothing else. It was just driving without a license. They have a miraculous capacity, apparently, in South Carolina to be able to identify people that don't have driver's licenses simply on the basis of I don't know what. I think we all know that the police and local law enforcement target people. They know who Gabino is. Do you really believe he lives and owns a home and a trailer park? They know where he is. They know where he lives. The last time they stopped him, it was entering the trailer park in which he lives. He wasn't the only one stopped that day for driving without a driver's license, clearly targeting him. Now, his able counsel is absolutely correct. Our dispute is not with the courts here today, but with the prosecution of this case. This case should never have been brought forward. They made a wise and smart decision when they looked at his background and released him on his own personal recognizance, back to his children, back to his wife, and back to the community, so that he could continue to pay the mortgage on that home that he owns and continue to work and be a productive member of society. A lot of, I spoke to reporters here in Charlotte, and now you say, well, why are you here? What does this have to do with Chicago? It's the same thing. Doesn't matter where you go in this country, whether it's LA or Chicago or New York or Florida, it's the same situation. And people like him are getting caught up in driving without a driver's license because of the racial profile which exists in the communities from which they come. There is no way for a police officer on 6 different occasions in the last few years to stop him unless it was on the basis of the color of his skin and who he was. There's just absolutely no way. I just want you to consider in your own personal life, how many times do you... Now, you get pulled over by a police officer if you're going too fast, if you go through a red light, if you're driving intoxicated. None of those things happened on 6 separate occasions. Now, the last time it was, they said to Gabino, well, you didn't make a full stop. Well, on the stop sign? Yeah, well, those are usually pretexts, like the broken tail light, to stop people. But on 6 occasions, they didn't do anything. Look, we have to go over, we have to make sure that in this country, we prioritize. There are people who present a very serious danger and threat to the society and the communities in which we live in. We should use all our enforcement personnel and energy and time in getting rid of them. To gang members, to drug dealers, to those who would cause pain and havoc in our community, we will assist the Immigration and Control Enforcement agents in ridding the United States of them. But Gabino is a father of 2 American citizen children. He's a good man who has done nothing other than try to provide for his family. He is not a criminal, and that is what we need to make clear to ICE, that these are families and not criminals, and we will stand with these families, and we will stand with Gabino.
Okay. También. Donde ellas dicen, okay.
What we're seeing around the country is that evangelical pastors play a very important role.
Lo que estamos viendo alrededor de toda la nación es que los pastores evangélicos tienen una función muy importante.
You know, honestly, that this is about the vote.
Y sabemos que esto tiene que ver con los votos.
The Latino vote can be seen in 2 parts.
Los votos latinos se pueden ver en 2 partes.
One is those who would vote Democratic and need to be made enthusiastic.
Y aquellos que pueden votar para el Partido Democrático y se vean entusiastas en esto.
The other is those who might vote Republican because of certain social issues.
Y otros que pudieran estar votando republicanos por ciertas situaciones que hay de issues sociales. Exacto.
So, and last time, those voted for the first time Democratic for Obama.
Así que eso, la vez pasada votaron democráticos. Estos votos latinos fueron hacia Obama por las situaciones que...
But if Obama is no different than a Republican in terms of deportation, they're going back.
Y si estos que votaron por Obama ven que Obama no sigue ayudando a los inmigrantes con respecto a la deportación, ellos se van a volver para el otro partido.
The pastors that represent that vote have a real power.
Los pastores que representan ese voto tienen un poder en sus manos.
Not only politically, but spiritually.
No tan solo político, sino espiritual.
I think that there was a weakness in the way the religious community looked at this issue.
Creo que hubo una debilidad en cómo la comunidad cristiana o religiosa vio esta problemática.
Because we said, according to the Bible, you should welcome the stranger.
Y porque dijimos, pues, según lo que dice la palabra de Dios, tenemos que darle la bienvenida al inmigrante.
That means we were talking to the citizens.
Estábamos hablando a los ciudadanos.
And we were acting as if the citizens were the people of God.
Y estábamos mirando a los ciudadanos como si fueran la única gente de Dios.
And those coming from Latin America were strangers.
Y que los que estaban viniendo de los países latinos eran totalmente extranjeros.
That maybe we could come and we could evangelize, they could be evangelized and become Americans.
Y que pensábamos que bueno, eran oportunidad para evangelizarlos y que se convirtieran en ciudadanos americanos.
But when Joseph was already in Egypt,
pero cuando José todavía estaba en Egipto,
like Gutierrez,
como Gutierrez,
and Jacob was in a place where there was famine and nothing to eat.
Y Jacob estaba en un lugar donde había hambre y nada de qué comer, de qué alimentarse.
God came to Jacob.
Dios vino a Jacob.
Take your people to Egypt.
Y le dijo, vete con tu gente a Egipto.
I will make them to be as many as the stars in the sky.
Y yo los voy a hacer que sean tanto como las estrellas en los cielos.
And I will make them a great people.
Y lo voy a hacer una gran nación.
In a nation that disrespects and dishonors the family.
Y la nación que no respeta a la familia y deshonra a la familia.
12 million people fighting to keep their families together.
12 millones de personas tratando de mantener su familia junta.
Or an offer of redemption to this nation. Or an offer of redemption to this nation.
Son una oportunidad de redención para esta nación.
Today in that court, this nation turned down that offer.
Hoy en esa corte esta nación dijo como no rechazó esa oferta.
If it does that, it condemns itself.
Y si hace eso, se están condenando a sí mismos.
It's time that we give strength to the faith of our own people.
Es tiempo que le demos fuerza a la fe de nuestra propia gente.
They're not strangers.
No son extranjeros.
To tiptoe through the night quietly.
Escabullirnos así a través de la noche sin hacer nada de ruido.
They're the people of God.
Ellos son la gente de Dios.
They have faith and they have family.
Ellos tienen fe y tienen familia.
We need to give them the courage to mobilize.
Y debemos darle la fuerza para que se movilicen.
To be salt and light and to bear witness.
Que sean sal y luz y que den testimonio aquí en la tierra.
We don't need pastors to come with nobody to a meeting.
No necesitamos pastores que no vengan a las reuniones sin nadie.
We need to come by the hundreds and the thousands.
Tenemos que venir por los cientos y los miles.
We know how to do that.
Sabemos cómo hacer eso.
When we want to bring 1,000, we can bring 1,000.
Cuando tenemos que traer 1000, sabemos cómo traer 1000.
But we have to decide that's what we're going to do.
Pero tenemos que decidir que esto es lo que vamos a hacer.
For some reason, the Lord has given us North Carolina and May the 15th to let our people be known.
Y por alguna razón Dios ha permitido que el 15 de mayo sea un momento donde podamos establecer y dar una señal de que estamos aquí, que nos conozcan.
Not embarrassed.
No sentirnos avergonzados.
Not ashamed.
No sentirnos avergonzados.
Not afraid.
No amedrentados.
But with the assurance that they are the people of God.
Pero con la seguridad de que somos la gente de Dios, el pueblo de Dios.
So we have a group here that can form a commission.
Así que tenemos un grupo aquí que podemos formar una comisión
For both North and South
para
Carolina.
tanto sur como norte de Carolina,
That can demand the respect of ICE.
que podamos pedirle el respeto a la agencia de inmigración.
But after that's formed,
Así que, pero después que eso se forme,
if there are 5,000 people on May the 15th,
si hay 5,000 personas el 15 de mayo,
that commission really will have respect.
esa comisión va a tener de verdad respeto ante la oficina de inmigración.
Es bien importante en este momento, porque yo no escogí el 15 de mayo. Esa fue la fecha que dio la corte. Yo no escogí, te aseguro, yo no escogí a Gabino. Él fue puesto en mi camino. Fue puesto en nuestro camino. Pero yo creo que tú no puedes encontrar mejor representante de quiénes son los indocumentados que Gabino. 14 años, vino aquí, cruzó esta frontera, llegó a Georgia, se casó, tiene 2 hijos, uno de 1, uno de 6, y lo quieren deportar porque estaba guiando sin licencia. Ese es el crimen de él, guiar sin licencia. Sin eso, hoy le hubiesen dicho, lárgate, camine de nuevo por ahí. Pero guió sin licencia. Guió sin licencia en un estado donde se persiguen a los latinos para guiar sin licencia.
Se llevaron a mi padre. Se llevaron a mi padre, se lo llevó un enemigo. amar.